right, so if you're looking at electric vehicles, you hear one thing constantly, right? You're going to save a ton of money on maintenance.
Absolutely. Fewer moving parts, no oil changes. Simplicity is definitely the big promise.
But there's that nagging question, the one you sent these sources over about, what actually happens if that shiny new EV gets into a fender bender? Or worse,
Hmm.
do electric cars really cost, that much more to repair after an accident? Is it just hype, or is there something to it?
Well, that's what we need to unpack.
Okay, let's do it. Because digging into these sources, the picture is, well, it's really nuanced. We're basically looking at two different things here. Routine upkeep, which looks pretty good,
Yeah, very good.
and then collision damage. And that's a whole different story, sometimes a pretty surprising one.
Exactly. You've got to separate them. Ownership cost isn't just one number. And when you look at the data, you see this interesting contradiction. EVs are mechanically simpler, like fundamentally simpler than gas cars. Yet when they get damaged, the repair bills can be astronomically higher sometimes.
So how can both be true? That's what we need to figure out.
Right. Let's break it down.
Okay, first, the good news. The maintenance advantage.
Hmm.
It's real. And it basically comes down to what's missing under the hood, doesn't it?
It really does. Think about all the stuff you just don't have to deal with anymore. No oil changes, obviously. No spark plugs, no complex transmission systems, no mufflers, no catalytic converters.
Wow, yeah. Those catalytic converters alone can be incredibly expensive to replace on a gas car later on. No belts, no hoses.
Right. A lot of the common failure points just aren't there.
So what does routine service actually look like then? The sources suggest it's minimal. We're talking cabin air filter, maybe checking the wipers, rotating the tires.
Uh-huh. And occasionally checking the coolant level for the battery pack. But yeah, that's pretty much it for regular scheduled stuff.
And that translates to actual savings. There's hard data on this.
Oh, yeah. The Federal Office of Energy Efficiency put numbers on it. They estimate gas cars cost about 10 cents per mile to maintain. EVs. Just 6 cents per mile.
Okay, 6 cents versus 10 cents. That doesn't sound like that much per mile, but over a year.
It adds up fast. If you drive, say, 15,000 miles a year, that 4-cent difference is about $600 saved right there year after year. Some estimates push it even higher, closer to maybe $1,500 depending on the models compared.
And the real-world comparisons, like from Edmunds or KBB, they back this up.
They do, very consistently.
Yeah.
Take a Chevy Bolt, an entry-level EV. Over 5 years, maintenance might run you about $2,800.
Right.
A similar small gas car, you're looking at over $4,400. That's a $1,600 difference.
Wow.
Even in the luxury space. An Audi Q4 e-tron, maybe just over $3,000 for 5 years. The gas-powered Audi Q5, over $5,000.
So consistently cheaper. Annual cost maybe $400 to $700 for the EV versus easily $1,000, maybe $1,500 for the internal combustion car.
That's the ballpark, yeah.
And another big one, brakes.
Huh.
We all hate getting that brake job estimate.
Right. But with EVs, you've got regenerative braking. The electric motor does a lot of the slowing down, sending energy back to the battery.
It means you're barely using the actual brake pads and discs in normal driving.
Exactly. They last significantly longer. Huge savings there, potentially, over the life of the car.
Okay. But we have to talk about the elephant in the room. The
Mhm.
battery itself. That's the single most expensive part, right? We hear figures like $5,000, $10,000, even $15,000 for a replacement.
That's true. It is the most expensive component by far.
So is that a maintenance cost we need to budget for?
Not really, not in the routine sense. The sources are pretty clear on this. Those batteries, they come with long warranties, usually 8 years, sometimes 10 years or 100,000 miles.
Okay.
And they're designed to outlast the typical ownership cycle of the car itself. Battery failure within the warranty period is covered, and failure outside warranty, while potentially very expensive, isn't a regular maintenance expectation like, say, replacing a timing belt. It's more of a potential major repair down the line, but not routine upkeep.
All right, so maintenance looks great. We save thousands. Brakes last forever. It almost sounds too easy.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
here's the twist you mentioned. There's one routine cost where EVs often lose that advantage, and it takes people by surprise. Tires.
Exactly. The tire tax, some people call it. And it comes down to one simple thing: weight.
Because of the batteries.
Yep. Those big battery packs are heavy. They add hundreds, sometimes over 1,000 pounds compared to a similar gas car.
And that extra weight means you need special tires.
You do. They need to be stronger to handle the load, and they often have lower rolling resistance compounds to maximize range. Plus, they need to cope with that instant torque EVs deliver.
Ah, right. So these specialized tires, they cost more.
Generally, yes. Expect to pay maybe 20, even 30% more for EV-specific tires compared to standard ones for a similar size car.
Okay, so they cost more up front.
Yeah.
But there's another issue, isn't there? The way EVs drive actually wears them out faster.
That's the other side of the coin. That instant torque, the quick acceleration that makes EVs so fun to drive, it puts a lot of immediate stress on the tires, especially if you enjoy spirited starts.
Guilty.
Huh. Well, that combined with the extra weight means the tires tend to wear down quicker than on a comparable gas car.
So you're paying more for the tires, and you might be replacing them more often.
Precisely. So while you're saving all that money on oil changes and tune-ups, some of that gets clawed back when it's time for new rubber. It definitely balances the maintenance budget a bit more than people expect.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now let's shift gears completely, away from routine stuff into the big worry, collision repairs.
Right. The crash costs.
We saw that recent study finding the average EV repair after an accident costs about $950 more than for a gas car. That sounds pretty significant.
It does sound like a big jump, but, and this is crucial, context matters immensely here.
How so?
That average figure is heavily, heavily skewed by one brand, Tesla.
Ah, because they dominate the market share right now.
Exactly. And Tesla's repair costs, for various reasons we can get into, are known to be significantly higher than average, even compared to other EVs.
So what happens if you, statistically remove Tesla from that calculation? What does the picture look like for, say, a Ford Mustang Mach-E or a Hyundai Ioniq 5?
It changes dramatically. When they split the data, the average repair cost for a non-Tesla EV was only $269 higher than the average gas car repair.
Only $269. That's almost negligible, really. A tiny premium.
It's a much smaller difference, yes. So that headline $950 figure needs that big asterisk next to it. It doesn't necessarily apply across the board to all EVs.
That's a really important distinction. So the collision cost panic might be a bit overblown if you're not buying a Tesla.
It seems less dramatic for non-Tesla models based on that data, yes.
Really?
And interestingly, the data also showed something positive for EVs overall.
Oh.
Fewer reported collisions. Accident claims frequency was actually 19% lower for EVs compared to gasoline cars in that study, period.
Huh. Fewer accidents, but potentially higher cost when they happen, especially for certain brands. Okay.
Right.
But even with the Tesla factor considered, an overall increase is still there. Mitchell, the repair data company, pegged the average EV repair bill around 6,066 fixes versus 4,703 lives for internal combustion. That's still a 30% jump overall. Why?
Okay, let's dig into the why. Two main drivers, labor and parts.
Let's start with labor. The estimate showed almost double the mechanical labor hours for EVs, 3 hours versus about 1.6 for gas cars.
Yep, nearly double.
But wait, you just said EVs are simpler mechanically, fewer parts. So what are mechanics doing for that extra hour and a half? It doesn't quite add up.
Ah, good question. It's not about fixing more parts. It's almost entirely about dealing with the high-voltage batteries safely.
Safety procedure.
Exactly. Before a technician can do significant structural repairs or even some paintwork involving heat, that high-voltage system needs to be de-energized, made safe. That often involves specific diagnostic steps, specialized equipment, and sometimes even completely removing the entire battery pack from the car just to ensure safety during the repair.
Wow. And that takes time. Specialized training, too, I imagine.
Loads of time and specialized training, yes. So a big chunk of that extra labor cost happens before they even start fixing the dent. It's all safety protocol for the high voltage system.
Got it. Okay, that explains the labor. What about parts? Why are EV parts apparently so much more expensive? If I smash the bumper on my old Civic, the shop can probably find a cheap aftermarket one.
Right. Or a used one from a salvage yard. That market is mature for gas cars. But for EVs, it's still very new.
So no cheap aftermarket alternatives yet.
Not really, not widely available. The aftermarket and recycled parts supply chain just hasn't caught up yet, which means repair shops are heavily reliant on ordering brand new parts directly from the manufacturer OEM parts.
Original equipment manufacturer.
Exactly. And your sources indicated that for many EV repairs, up to 90% of the parts might have to be OEM. When there's no competition from aftermarket suppliers, the manufacturer can charge a premium.
Okay, so specialized labor for battery safety and expensive manufacturer-only parts. That makes sense. Anything else driving up costs?
Well, there's the fact that a lot of EVs currently on the road are higher-end luxury models. Something like 77% were classified as upscale.
And luxury cars just cost more to fix anyway, gas or electric.
Correct. They're packed with sensors, cameras, complex driver assist systems, expensive trim pieces. A minor bump can damage a lot of costly tech that often needs full replacement, not repair.
Right. And then there's the ultimate cost driver, the risk of the car being declared a total loss.
hmm This brings us back to the battery. Because it's so expensive, if the battery pack itself sustains damage in a collision, even if the rest of the car looks fixable, the cost to replace that pack can easily exceed the car's remaining value.
So even a seemingly moderate hit, if it cracks the battery case or damages cells, could lead to the insurance company just writing the car off.
It's a significant factor, yes. It makes the threshold for declaring an EV a total loss potentially lower than for a comparable gas car, purely because of that one massive component cost.
There was that specific example in the sources, right? Taylor Faust's Tesla Model S. His neighbor just backed into the bumper. A simple dent, seemingly.
Yeah, a relatively minor incident looked like just a bumper scuff.
And the final repair bill was
Over $17,000.
$17,000 for a bumper dent. Why?
Well, partly sensors and tech, but a huge factor was the material. Teslas in particular use a lot of aluminum body panels.
Which is harder and more expensive to repair than steel.
Much harder, yes. Repairing aluminum requires specialized equipment, different techniques, and often involves replacing entire panels rather than just banging out a dent. It's a complex structural repair, even for what looks like minor damage, and drives the cost way up.
Wow. Okay. So pulling all this together, what's the final verdict for someone weighing this decision?
Well, it really is that duality we started with.
You save potentially thousands on routine maintenance over the years, oil changes, tune-ups, brakes. Big win there.
Definitely a big win on the upkeep side,
Hmm.
but you need to be aware of the potential for significantly higher costs if you have an accident.
Especially involving the battery or complex body materials like aluminum, or if you're driving a brand known for higher repair costs and a higher risk of it being totaled.
Right. More complexity, higher parts cost for now, specialized labor. It adds up in a collision scenario.
So is this just the reality we have to live with for EVs?
For now, perhaps. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, think about market maturity. This is likely to change over time.
How so?
Well, as more EVs hit the road, that aftermarket and recycled parts supply will develop, competition will increase, which should bring down parts costs.
Makes sense.
And automakers are also working on battery design, making them more modular, easier to repair individual sections perhaps, rather than replacing the whole expensive pack. Maybe moving away from using the battery as a core structural piece that's vulnerable.
So the hope is that these high collision costs are a temporary phase as the technology and the market mature.
That's the logical expectation, yes. We should see those costs gradually come down over the next decade as adoption grows and the industry adapts.
Okay, that provides some really valuable perspective. It's not just one simple answer. You save here, but you might pay more there, at least for now.
Exactly. Know what you're getting into on both sides of the ledger.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for breaking that down.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing these sources and joining us for this deep dive. Hopefully, this clarifies the real picture of EV maintenance versus repair costs.
Hope it helps.
If it did, definitely follow the channel for more deep dives like this, and maybe share this one with someone else trying to figure out the true cost of going electric. Thanks for listening.